devastatingly bad news for Tucker Carlson and leftists in general. Marco Rubio is incredibly effective. Masume Ebedekar, also known as Screaming Mary, that's horrifying, was the spokeswoman for Islamic terrorists who stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979 and held 52 Americans hostage for 444 days, subjecting them to beatings, starvation, and mock executions. In 2014, the Obama administration granted visas to her son and his family to enter the United States because, in my opinion, most of the bad things that we're dealing with in the United States could be traced back to Obama. In June 2016, the Obama administration gave them lawful permanent residency status via the Diversity Immigrant Visa Program. This week, I terminated their lawful permanent residency status, and today, Syed Isa Hashemi, Maryam Tahmespi, and their son are now in custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, pending their removal from our country. Her family should never have been allowed to benefit from the extraordinary privilege of living in our country. America can never become the home of anti-American terrorists or their families, and under the Trump administration, it never will. This already has 200,000 likes despite being posted literally just today. And this is just the latest and greatest of the updates because apparently Marco Rubio is revoking the visas for between 3,000 and 4,000 people. People that are in America on visas that actually support Islamic terror organizations or our adversaries. And this is unfathomably based. Like, this is the thing that I want to see. Honestly, as far as, right-wing politicians in America, of course, every single illegal alien needs to get deported. That's not even a question anymore. If that's not on your agenda, then I don't want you anywhere near politics. But I want to see the actual agenda being, we are going to denaturalize. We are going to revoke visas and citizenship from as many of these anti-American fuckwads as we absolutely can. That's what I want to see. And I'm so happy to see Rubio making steps in that direction. Now, person most affected on the right by stuff like this has got to be Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson is probably going to be putting his political weight heavily behind certain characters to try to get them elected. He's already been making many major moves in regards to actual governmental shit. In fact, he just backed a politician, I think in North Carolina, I don't remember where, and that race just ended with the politician he endorsed. You know, I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. So Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump have been beefing lately, and honestly, Donald Trump just fucking killed the guy. Like, it's just so over, bro. So first, this is the CNN report.
Let's start off with Tucker Carlson, who has been in absolute free fall with Republicans. I mean, just take a look at this. Look at this trend line. Tucker Carlson's net favorable. Back in March of 2024, when he and Donald Trump were very close friends, look at this. He was at plus 54 points.
Wow.
Look at where he is today at only plus 7 points.
Oh, just absolutely brutal. This is like an actual fucking public raping. This guy got fucking obliterated. All right, so he went from plus 54 among Republicans to plus 7 among Republicans. I'll be honest, I'm surprised. I didn't think he was that unlikable. I mean, I fucking hate him. I think he's a traitor. I think he quite literally works for Islamic regimes, and that's why he's constantly pushing how Sharia law is actually really good and stuff. How dare you mock Islam? Right? So I think he's a foreign operative. All right, his dad's a CIA agent. He's been very suspicious as fuck. All right, I personally think he's a foreign operative, and he does not have Americans' best interest at heart, which is why, all right, in his last, like, let's say 100 shows he's done on his channel, and you could literally look at them, they're all about Israel. All right, I don't see him promoting the Save America Act to make sure that people need citizenship to vote. I don't see him talking about deportations. I don't see him talking about anything. I'll be honest. I'm not even exaggerating. Abortion, which I think is the biggest war crime that's happening on American soil. I don't see him talking about any of this stuff. He only talks about Israel and how Donald Trump is a slave to the Jews. That's a new one. He just said that actually today. I'll show it to you in a sec. But I'm so happy to see the vast amount of Republicans actually understand this and agree with this, because he gets a lot of love and support online. I understand that. But I'm starting to realize that his love and support online, and I say starting to realize like it's a new epiphany, but I've always been saying this, it's fucking Pakistanis, bro. He's literally getting like the third worlders that watch his videos and they're like, holy shit, the Jews are controlling Trump. And they're like, yo, we also hate the Jews. That's crazy, right? And then they get to, I don't even know what to say, man. It's just absolute insanity watching the free fall. But this is wild.
Among Republicans, and that includes GOP-leaning independents, I mean, that is a drop of, what, 47 percentage points.
That's
My
crazy.
Goodness gracious. When you go up against Donald Trump and you want to appeal to the Republican base, To quote the movie Good Burger, you go on the grinder, and that is exactly what has happened to Tucker Carlson, who has absolutely collapsed among Republicans.
So if it is a choice between the president and Tucker Carlson among these voters, what do they basically say?
Yeah, they choose Donald Trump basically every single time. Look at this. Okay, the exact same poll, this UMass Lowell poll. Look at this. Net favorables among Republicans. Again, this is Republicans plus Republican-leaning independents. You see Carlson on the right side of your screen at plus 7 points. Look at where Donald Trump is, at plus 61 points. And this is actually a little bit low for Donald Trump. In other polls around the same time, he was even higher than this. Again, he is crushing Tucker Carlson. What is this? This is a 54-point advantage for Donald Trump over Tucker Carlson when it comes to who is more popular among Republican voters. And, of course, this is even just talking about the MAGA base.
But I was told by Candace Owens that Tucker Carlson is actually much more impactful than Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is running an approval rating somewhere between 97 and 100%.
Yeah, so anyway, Tucker Carlson recently promoted a anti-Trump politician, Republican politician. I think it's North Carolina. I think I actually, I took this down, right? South Carolina, sorry. All right, so he actually promoted a anti-Trump politician in South Carolina. Obviously, some big anti-Israel guy. Also, I don't know what happened to this man. I'm not gonna lie. It's horrifying. And he lost. He actually came in 6th place, which. I didn't even know there were 6 people running, but he came in 6th place. And he lost to, like, one of the most unlikable people in the entire Senate. Paul Dance had just dropped out of the South Carolina senatorial race against the great Lindsey Graham. Oh, my God, dude. I'm not even, like, a Lindsey Graham fan. That dude's a warmonger, bro. But even he managed to fucking destroy Tucker Carlson's guy. And all started to fall apart for Paul when a very low IQ individual named Tucker Carlson endorsed him the kiss of death. Oh my God. Lindsey has a big lead and is on his way to spectacular victory because he just gets things done. President Donald J. Trump. Lindsey's a girl's name, by the way. And the crazy thing is, Lindsey Graham is not like, people don't like him. People don't even like him. But even he managed to fucking obliterate Tucker Carlson's guy that he backed. Honestly humiliating. Dude shattered his entire legacy for money from Qatar. Insanity. It's honestly insane looking at this downfall. This is one of the wildest downfalls I think we've ever seen in the media. This dude went from close friend to Donald Trump, close friend to J.D. Vance. He might still be, who knows. You know, up there on Fox News, beloved by everyone, household name among every conservative in America, to honestly one of the most hated conservative figures out there. And this is insane to see. And it's not because of some giant scandal. He was caught cheating on his wife or some shit. As far as I'm aware, none of that ever happened. He's just shockingly become pro-Russia, pro-China, pro-communism, and pro-Islam. He'll call Donald Trump a war criminal, and he'll say that Putin is his #1 celebrity. He'll say evangelical Christians are his least favorite people, but he loves Muslims. He'll say we need to follow God's law, and then he'll say that actually Christianity aligns more with socialism than capitalism. Like, this dude is an enigma for sure. Now, anyway, Tucker Carlson's new episode claims that Hezbollah has been protecting the Christian communities in Lebanon. This is true. I actually watched it. I saw it. It was like a 10-minute segment, so I'm not going to show it to you because it's unbelievable how he has zero evidence for anything he says. Because Hezbollah has ethnically cleansed Lebanese Christians from half the country. The Christian population in Lebanon over the last 50 years went from 52%, a majority, to 30%, a minority. In Lebanon. How did that happen? It's almost like the Hezbollah terrorists have been massacring them. The Lebanese Christians themselves hate Hezbollah, and Tucker Carlson supports them. It's honestly insane. Now, there's some tweets here from people that either they're just like misinformed, or they're just like wrong. Tucker saw in Trump a nativist for the United States and turned on Trump because Trump abandoned his nativism. Trump is trying to serve two masters and it won't work. Trump was a nativist for the United States and Tucker turned on him because what are you even fucking talking about? And I like the Sargon of Akkad. I actually really like this guy. I like his videos a lot. But what are we talking about? These are Tucker Carlson texts from 2020 when Trump lost the election. We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. These are actual, real leaked text messages from Tucker Carlson in 2020. Like, are you being serious? This dude calls Trump a war criminal that needs to be impeached and enslaved to the Jews. And you think Trump backstabbed him? Well, what are we even doing here? All right, this is literally from today.
Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
No, he's not free. And we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief.
Okay, great.
And made its terms, or most of its terms, public. And then that ceasefire ended within
Did it? Who ended the ceasefire?
2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by
liar. Israel did not violate the terms.
Attacking not just southern Lebanon, but the city of Beirut.
Israel is allowed to attack Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the ceasefire whatsoever. And the craziest part is Tucker Carlson knows that, because he was directly called out by J.D. Vance on this. So this is Tucker repeating the same lie that they call out again and again and again.
I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith propaganda going on. I think this comes from a legitimate misunderstanding. I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case. What we said is that the ceasefire would be focused on Iran, and the ceasefire would be focused on America's allies, both Israel.
All right, so there's that. Or what about here?
Danny. Thanks, Karen. Would President Trump like to see Lebanon included in this peace deal? As you know, there have been increased Israeli strikes on Lebanon today with dozens of casualties there.
Sure. Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire. That has been relayed to all parties involved in the ceasefire. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu put out a statement last night in support of the ceasefire.
Anyway, the point is very clear, all right? And look, this is from April 8th. All right, this is from April 8th, all right? And this is Tucker Carlson going on the BBC on April 12th to say that Donald Trump is a slave to the Jews because he's trying to make a ceasefire and the Jews are violating it by bombing Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. What the fuck does that have to do with Iran? Unless you're saying that the Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon that have been striking Israeli cities are actually Iranian proxies? You mean the thing that Iran's been denying this entire time and that Israel has been asserting and that Israel's been proven correct about? Like, this is absolute insanity.
So are you saying he's a slave to Benjamin Netanyahu?
I don't think it's as simple as he's under the control of Netanyahu.
It's all the Jews.
But, you could summarize it that way and you wouldn't be totally inaccurate.
It wouldn't be inaccurate to say he wasn't a slave to Netanyahu because Israel bombed terrorists that have bombed Israel first, and therefore, do we even understand what we're doing here? And so you're going to say that Trump backstabbed this guy? Well, there's a reason why he's in a free fall, and here we go. Candace Owens coming in with the hot garbage.
How else to help you understand? You are quite literally mocking people because they comprehend something that you don't.
Right, this is what she's talking to Donald Trump, who doesn't understand the inner workings of how the Jews control him.
Tucker Carlson is more powerful than you.
Tucker Carlson is more powerful than Donald Trump. That's right. When I think of power, I don't think of the President of the United States, leader of the free world, controlling the most powerful military on the planet, won multiple wars, ended endless conflicts. I think about a podcaster that sniffs bread in supermarkets in Russia and talks about how free the Chinese people are.
Down, I think you know that, and I think you resent that.
Yep, that's America. That's Donald Trump. Donald Trump just sitting there resenting the fact that Tucker Carlson is more powerful than he is. Absolutely. All right, so this is Jackson Hinkle saying ex-Gaddafi minister warns Iran not to repeat Libya's mistake by trusting the United States. And Alex Jones says bingo, rooting against the United States. But even more than that, Alex Jones is responding to Jackson Hinkle, who is an open communist, open pro-Islam communist. What is happening right now? So just to understand, Donald Trump made this big tweet calling out all these guys. He called out Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones, and all of them just went super mask off, completely flipping sides. What are we even doing here? Where are your principles? Where are your values? So this is Joe Kent. He was the chief counterterrorism official in the United States. He left in disgrace in order to say that, Donald Trump is controlled by the Jews. And then he immediately went on all the podcasts. He went on Candace Owens' podcast. He went on Tucker Carlson's podcast. He did the whole podcast circuit right after he left in disgrace and shat on the entire United States of America. So this is him constantly pushing more bullshit, right? The Fox clip below is an example of Israeli-influenced media echo chamber. President Trump's policy for Iran has always been no nuclear weapons, not zero enrichment. All right, so let's see the actual
The president
clip.
gave them clear guidelines. We understand that to mean that the U.S. needs to go in there and tell Iran, no enrichment, period. That is what we have heard from White House officials.
All right, so that's what Fox News says. No enrichment for Iran. And Joe Kent is claiming that this is the Israeli infiltration of the media because it was never about no enrichment. It was about no weapons. And he highlights this Donald Trump tweet. All right, this Trump tweet saying it was agreed a long time ago, despite all the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons. All right, so apparently it seems like Israeli infiltration is tricking the media into relaying that it was about enrichment when it was not about enrichment. It was only about nuclear weapons. Except this is a Donald Trump tweet saying, quite literally, in very, very straightforward, there will be no enrichment of uranium. It's unbelievable that we're watching this happen in real time. Like, this is the dumbest fucking lowest IQ psyop in the history of America. And the dumbest fucking retards are falling for it because they just don't believe it. Like, then we have Owen Schroyer. All right, he was an InfoWars guys with Alex Jones. Is it time to vote for Democrats in the midterms? Yes. Let's vote for the race communists that are flooding our country with third worlders. Let's vote for those guys. Absolutely. Huge W. Meanwhile, this guy was literally in jail for January 6th. Democrats literally put this guy in prison for 2 months and required him to be federally supervised for a year. And Donald Trump pardoned him. Well, what is happening, guys? What are we doing? So, meanwhile, it's worth pointing out this Tucker Carlson tweet. So, this was a tweet he made 9 months ago when we struck their nuclear sites the first time, saying, it's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East. And the cost of the United States, tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism in the United States soil may even be higher. Those aren't guesses. Those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set up a war. And it'll be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you. 108,000 likes, 9 million views. This never fucking happened. This never happened. Right? And for those of you unaware, we did not lose tens of thousands of soldiers, thank God. There isn't World War III going on, and, prices aren't infinitely higher. But it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, the reason why I know something happened to this guy in between, this was Tucker Carlson a decade ago.
The lone voice in saying this, I think Iran deserves to be annihilated. I think they're lunatics. I think they're evil.
Tucker, aren't we the only...
Are we being serious here for a second?
...only country allowed to make preemptive strikes? Who the hell does Iran think it is?
That's it. Actually, I know you're sort of kidding, but I agree with that. I think we are the only country.
No, I'm not kidding at all.
Rather, we are. That's absolutely right. The only country with the moral authority sufficient to do that. The only country that doesn't seek hegemony in the world. The lone voice in saying this.
So what are we doing here, guys? Well, what happened to this guy? What absolutely happened to this guy? Now, my guy here, so Steven Crowder, who's been absolutely fucking incredible lately. This dude's awesome. All right, watching all the snakes and the liars go mask off for cheap Pakistani views and third world clicks on their videos. And Steven Crowder has not faltered. So Steven Crowder went on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is screaming how Trump betrayed Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. He betrayed them. All right, and we got Steven Crowder here to set the record straight.
Are you comfortable with that kind of language from the President of the United States, from the guy sitting in the Oval Office, publicly?
Well, which part of it? Which part of it? If we're talking naughty words, I don't care. I didn't elect Donald Trump because I thought he was a pastor. I didn't vote for him because I think even necessarily that he's a devout Christian. I thought it was trolling. I actually laughed pretty hard at the praise be to Allah. I do think it was ill-advised to say whole civilization. And the reason why is because you see a lot of people, and this is, again, about applying it equally. Donald Trump has done a pretty good job, and certainly Marco Rubio, in delineating between the Iranian people and the regime. I think we probably agree there are very few governments, if any, that are in more diametric opposition to the people they govern than the IRGC and the Iranian people. I mean, we don't get very accurate polling out of there, as you tend to not get out of the Islamic world. The overwhelming majority of the Iranian people support the help, support the military intervention. Doesn't mean that it's our job, to be clear. That's a conversation to have stateside, domestically. But separating between the regime and the people is important. Donald Trump has done that consistently. He didn't do that with his phrase here. I definitely think that did him no favors. On the flip side, when I see people...
Although, he did end his tweet with God bless the Iranian people, by the way. So I do think that is a delineation. But anyway.
Saying World War III, and I see people saying, he's killing innocent civilians. We're bombing brown people. We're killing Iranians. I go, well, hold on a second. You guys never delineate between the IRGC and the Iranian people. I also think that it's undergirded by the fact that if remarkably inconsistent, and ill-advised. He did say, God bless the Iranian people in that same post, which would seem to clarify and be consistent with what he just said 12 hours earlier. Right? People were offended. Keep in mind, 12 hours earlier, they said, do you think this is a war crime? And I think it's no, because they're animals and they killed 40. The number always goes up. Maybe 60, maybe 120,000 of their old people. Wow, they're animals. People said, I can't believe he would say that. But he did say, no, targeting military sites, targeting strategic infrastructure to do away with a totalitarian and I would argue evil, satanic regime, the IRGC, is not a war crime because the people want it and support it.
But
doesn't mean that it's
so Stephen,
legitimate.
where does it sit with, Trump, obviously the campaigner in 2024 was absolutely emphatic. I will not drag America into any more senseless wars, particularly in the Middle East.
Why is this a senseless war? We're out there for 38 fucking days obliterating terrorists that have been trying to kill us for 47 years that have killed us killed tens of thousands of Americans. Or rather, thousands of Americans, tens of thousands of their own people.
And here he is dragging America into the biggest Middle Eastern war he could possibly have dragged them into.
I'm sorry. We don't have a single soldier on the ground. Right? We're in Afghanistan. For how long were we in Afghanistan? 20 years? Iraq for 8 years? Like, are we even being serious?
Tucker Carlson has been blistering in his attack on it.
Oh, Tucker Carlson's angry.
Megyn Kelly has been blistering. You've got all these people.
Yeah, retards. The retards are upset.
All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's a real split on the conservative right in America, and it's really bubbled up and boiled over with the Iran war. Why do you think that is? Why? I mean, if you go back 20, 30 years, there would have been complete unanimity about a Republican strike of this nature. It wouldn't have been, there would have been no split. But there's a real split here, ideologically, between what people believe they thought they were voting for and what they think they're getting from Trump.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's as big of a split with the voter as there are commentators.
Agreed.
For example, my perspective.
The voter doesn't care how many Pakistani view bots are watching their videos.
Has been, I supported the strike on the enrichment facility. And I said, give this 3 months. And then I'll have to reassess it because I know there's information that I cannot have on Iran as it pertains to national security. I would say that would be due largely to their own ignorance because anyone who thinks that Donald Trump has been anything other than consistent, going back to the 1980s, which is kind of a marvel. The only reason we're
40 years of him saying that Iran could not have a nuclear weapon.
Able to have this long of a consistent track record for any president is because he was a celebrity. He's always said Iran cannot have a nuke. They will never have a nuke. That was what he said that day of that famous escalator ride. It was part and parcel of that speech. So anyone who thinks that Donald Trump being tough on Iran is a betrayal is simply uneducated and didn't listen to him. And you could also argue, and I think there are two reasonable sides on this issue. I don't think war criminal. I don't think genocide is one of them. You could argue that he's ending a 47-year war, and it's right in line with his promises. When I hear people say, why would we strike Iran? They've never done anything to us. You hear that a lot. Many Americans.
Tucker Carlson says that basically.
Hundreds, if not over 1,000, depending on the numbers, and they've pledged to kill many more. It comes down to that discussion and when you want to deal with this issue.
And in my opinion, the reality is, even if this wasn't going to be some sort of imminent threat, this was going to be an inevitable threat. If left to their own devices, they would become a threat that would do their best to destroy us. And the reality is, if you pay attention to the actual polling, to the actual American people, not what the dumb fuck retarded paid off commentators have to say.
As for, the aspirations, Americans broadly support them. 87% say Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened. 81% want to ensure freedom for the Iranian people. So
that's wild to me. 81% of Americans want freedom for the Iranian people and want our involvement in their freedom.
76% want to permanently stop Iran's nuclear program. 55% want the current leaders ousted before we end the war.
That's huge, by the way. That's absolutely massive. Right? So you cannot let the retards, the absolute retard loud voices crash out about this. All right. Oh my God, Trump's immoral and reckless war in Iran has shot up gas prices in my district to nearly $6 a gallon.
It used to be $4 something before the illegal, immoral war in Iran.
It wasn't illegal. It also wasn't immoral. And you are a foreigner dictating our foreign policy. And it's tiring watching these retards. This is him crying. As you can see, this did not go over very well. 3,000 likes, 6,000 comments. All right, this did not go well. And the reality is, it's because This was 2023. It was $8 in 2023. It's $6 now in middle of a war against this existential threat to the United States. The reason why gas is this high is because there are infinite retard woke taxes in California. All right, that's why it's high. The left doesn't care about gas prices. The left cares about power. And because illegal and immoral war, and because of Trump's incredibly funny, wholesome, and awesome execution of retard terrorists, which is epic, by the way, because killing terrorists is fucking awesome. You would know if you were an American, you would also support killing terrorists, but you're clearly not an American. So you clearly do not like this idea of killing terrorists, which makes me dislike you a little bit. But yeah, killing terrorists, awesome, actually. Grow a pair.